StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show, you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why you need deadlines. Before we get into this, I remind you of two things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation text messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do to get these messages is text me at my number 305-384-6894. As soon as we start sending those messages out again, so if you text me right now and you don't get immediate responses because we haven't started sending messages again yet, but when we do, we will be sending those out to everybody in our text community. It is free to join, so why would you not do it? Just text me at that number, 305-384-6894. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where I do all my coaching. If you like to have me as your direct coach, you want to be able to share with me your challenges, get direct help and training from me on specific tactical and strategic things you are doing in your business, working on in your business, or maybe you just know you need some help with your business, but you don't even know what questions you need to be asking. Guess what? I can help you with that. All right, that's my superpower is insight, meaning be able to see things that maybe you're not seeing and make clear things that may be a little bit confusing to you. That is what I do best. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see what our program is, how it works, and you can get started right there on the spot. Link also down below in the description. With all that out the way, let's get into the topic here today, which is why you need deadlines. Let's get a clear definition of this word. A deadline is a date or time before which something must be done. A date or time before which something must be done. Because if you hit the line, then you're dead. All right. So you don't want to wait until the time. You want to get it done before the time, right? So today we'll talk about why deadlines help productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, and overall quality of performance, results, and life. Damn, deadlines do a lot. They do all that. Let me say that list again. Deadlines help our productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, overall quality of performance, results, and life. Deadlines do all of that. So if you're not using deadlines, you are missing out on all of these things that I just said. So I would suggest you start using deadlines. I could end the episode right there, but I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to give you an explanation of why I'm saying that here. Point number one. Topic, once again, is why you need deadlines. Number one, Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states tasks expand or contract based on the amount of time given for their completion. Any of you heard of, some of you may have heard of the law, Parkinson's law, but maybe you didn't know who Parkinson was. But Parkinson's law states, again, tasks will expand or contract given the amount of time available for the tasks to be done. All right, that is Parkinson's law. And no, I'm going to find out who Parkinson was. Let's see if I can find it real quick while I'm looking through this. But this whole concept of Parkinson's law is the reason why, it's the biggest reason why deadlines exist. Because when we give ourselves unlimited time, we usually take unlimited time. Human beings, we're very adaptable creatures, meaning anything that is placed upon us that we know we can't kind of escape from it, we usually end up adapting to it. So if you're used to eating 5 small meals a day, but all of a sudden you get thrown in jail and you only get 1 meal a day, you're not going to die because you're only getting 1 meal a day. You will survive because your body will quickly make an adjustment once it realizes that your normal 5 meals a day, you're not getting anymore. Or if you're used to 1 meal a day, but then all of a sudden, somehow, some way you're forced to eat 5 meals a day. I don't know where that would happen. Let's just say that was the case. Your body would adjust to eating 5 meals a day. That's just how it works. If you're used to sleeping 8 hours a night, but then all of a sudden you have to operate on 4 hours a night, you will adjust to the 4 hours a night and you will find a way to make it work. This is what the human body does. The beauty of the human body is that we are extremely adjustable. We're extremely adaptable to our circumstances. And the mind works the exact same way. So when you give yourself less time to get something done, and you actually honor your own time limit, which is a very important part of this because it doesn't work unless you honor the deadline, then you will get things done in less time. It usually takes you 45 minutes, but you only have 30. You will get it done in 30 if you respect that you only have 30. Now, if you are just making that number up arbitrarily, that you have 30 minutes, but you could actually take 45 if you want to, you'll find a way to take 45. So you have to actually respect your own deadline or the deadline, whoever made it up, whether you or somebody else. As long as you respect the deadline, it works. You don't respect the deadline, it doesn't work. Okay? So you have to honor the time limit. When you give yourself an unlimited amount of time to get something done, things tend to stretch and take more time than they should. So there's a discipline that you must impose on yourself to make this work. And the simple structure you can put in place with this is literally using a calendar or some form of scheduler and respecting the clock. That's it. A calendar or a scheduler. Everyone has access to that, and they're free. You can get a calendar app on your phone for free, and just respect your time. Same way that, again, if you had a coach who gave you a time limit, who said, okay, when I was playing like youth basketball, for example, we would do sprints in basketball practice, and the coach would say, okay, we got to run a 4 or a 10 or an 8. And what that meant is sprinting from one baseline to the other. Every time you touch the baseline, that counted as 1. So a 4 meant down and back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Down and back twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each baseline you touch counted as 1. And you have a certain time limit to do it. So he would put maybe 28 seconds on the clock or 25 seconds, and you had to do all 4. You had to touch all 4 lines and cross the last line before the clock hit all zeros. And if you didn't do it, you had to do it again. Or if one person came up short and the whole team had to do it again, it'd be something like that. But that's a deadline. If a coach imposes that deadline and you respect it, you find a way to make it work. If your school teacher says, okay, the paper is due on this day, if you are late, then you get an F and you need that grade, you respect it. Your boss says, get this on my desk by 5 p.m. today, you get it done. If your parents gave you a deadline, you do it. So the same way you would honor the deadlines of people in authority whom you respect, show yourself that same respect. Okay? You will make it happen in a allotted time when you respect the allotted time that has been given, but you must respect it. Point number 2. Topic once again today is why you need deadlines. Number 2, one of the best ways to get things done is having to do things. One of the best ways to get something done is being in a position where it has to get done. Not it would be nice for it to get done, not maybe one day I'll get it done, but when it has to get done, usually we get things done. I believe it's FedEx. I believe it's Federal Express, the company that whose slogan is when it absolutely has to be there, then you go with Federal Express. I think that's their slogan. They're not that famous for that slogan, but I believe that is their slogan. Let me see if I can find it. And the whole point is when you know that you have to get something done, you find a way to get it done. So let's see. Yeah, it says FedEx created and evolved its iconic brand slogans to when it absolutely positively needs to be there overnight. That is FedEx's slogan. Now I don't think they even use that slogan much in their marketing, but that is what FedEx is about. So if you absolutely positively need to get something from where you are to where it needs to be overnight, they usually FedEx it, right? You might go to U.S. Postal Service and use their overnight express mail, but FedEx tends to be more reliable, at least from what I've heard and in my experience. I don't usually ship packages overnight, but from what I've heard from people who do a lot of that, FedEx overnight is the best option for that. So the point is, one of the best ways to get things done is having to do them. So this again points to you respecting mandates that you have given yourself or that have been given to you for something to get done. Do you honor your own commitments to yourself the same way you honor a commitment that was put on you by a person who has authority, again, such as your boss at work? Do you honor your commitments to you the same way you honor a commitment that you make to your boss? And you might not even make a commitment to your boss, but because you work there, you have given in a tacit commitment that you're going to do whatever the boss says. And if you don't do what the boss says, then the boss has the authority to do something that will put you in a bad spot. So you respect it, all right, without even having to say it. Do you respect your own commitments the same way? That's the question. You respect your commitments the same way you respect the commitment that they put on you. There is no reason why you can't show yourself the same level of respect and show your business and your goals the same level of respect. There's nothing stopping you from doing this. So if you're going to be a high level performer, the accountability starts with the person in the mirror. So of course you want to be able to inspire and motivate and help other people with whatever you do, especially those who are entrepreneurs, because you have to help people in order to help yourself. But if you're not holding yourself accountable, how are you ever going to hold anybody else accountable? That kind of doesn't make sense. So it doesn't mean that you cannot use accountability from others, but you must hold yourself to a certain level of accountability in order for others to be able to hold you to accountability. So if I'm going to hold you accountable, you have to have some accountability with yourself to the fact that, okay, whatever this person is telling me, I'm going to make sure I follow through on it. You got to have some kind of conversation with yourself about that in order for me to have a conversation with you. This all starts on the inside and it expands to the outside. It shows on the outside, but it starts on the inside. So understand that having to do things does not necessarily mean you're in a life or death situation. It just means that you need to respect your time and your commitments the same way that you would respect something being imposed on you by someone else. To give you an example, when I was 19 years of age, this was like the tail end of my freshman year of college. I was going to this school called Penn State Abington, which is a branch campus of Penn State University. And this branch is right outside the city of Philadelphia, where I grew up. And Abington doesn't have dormitories. So I would drive back and forth to campus every single day. And in driving in the Abington Township, town of Abington, which is a small town right outside of Philly, very nice town, but small town. A couple times as a 19-year-old driver, I would just drive through stop signs, just not stop at stop signs, just young ignorance was what it was. It wasn't because I didn't see the stop sign. I just said, I don't see anybody around. There's no cars. I'm in this quiet little small town. Let me just drive through the stop sign. Nobody's going to see me. And lo and behold, a couple times somebody saw me and it was a cop. So I got pulled over a couple times and I got some moving violations, i.e. tickets, for driving through the stop signs. And then these tickets would be, any of you ever got a moving violation ticket? You know, these tickets would be like $180 or something like that. So these tickets were pretty costly, especially for a 19-year-old who didn't have a lot of money. So I ended up getting on, I would go to the little traffic court office and I would apply to get on a payment plan to pay off the tickets. So the payment plan would be like $40 every 6 weeks or something like that to pay off the ticket with a little bit of tax on top of it because they gave me extra time. And I remember once I had taken my time not paying one of these payment plans. I was past the due date for the payment plan. I hadn't paid it. And they sent a letter to the address registered for my car registration. And it said, hey, you have not made this payment. If you don't make this payment or make arrangements to make this payment within the next 48 to 72 hours, then we're going to issue a bench warrant for your arrest for failure to pay your your driving citations or whatever it was. Now, were they going to send the FBI to come kick down my door and arrest me over $45? Probably not. But it was enough to stir me to action. And it moved me to action to where I scrambled to go get some money, whatever money I had remaining to make that payment, go to the CVS or drugstore, get me a money order, and then go to the post office and make sure, or wherever I was paying it, make sure I was making that payment to make sure those bills got paid. Why? Because it was a deadline being imposed on me that if you don't do this, then we're going to do this. And the thing that they threatened to do, I wanted to avoid that strongly enough that I went and did whatever it is that I needed to do. You need to put that same kind of mandate on yourself to get things done. Again, same way your boss gives you an impossible job and says, have this done by this date. Any of you who's worked at a company, especially those of you who have ascended, you're working like on a career level, you know what this feels like. You probably have this happen to you often, depending on the type of job you have. Maybe it happens to you damn near every day. You know what this feels like. All right. So hold yourself to that same standard of accountability. All right. Why can you do it for your job? You can't do it for you. Right? I mean, you respect the job more than you respect yourself. I mean, if that's the case, just be honest. But I hope that's not the case. I'm just asking. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why you need deadlines. Number 3, we perform at our best when we are under pressure. What is pressure? It's a good question. Let's define the word. Pressure says the use of persuasion, influence, or intimidation to make someone do something. I love this term, this definition. Let me say it again. Pressure is the use of persuasion, influence, or intimidation to make someone do something. Pressure is good. Why? Because it makes us do stuff. All right. Action bias is one of the things that I've talked about here on this show many times. The action bias is what I talked about in episode number 1199. Action bias, what does it mean? It means moving yourself to do stuff rather than just think about stuff. That's all action bias means, doing stuff. Pressure puts you in a position to where you have to do stuff. Why? Because pressure makes people do things. All right, you want pressure. Pressure moves you to action. How many of you have ever sat for 30 minutes or an hour or a week or a month or a year, knowing consciously in your mind there were things that you wanted and needed to do, yet you did not do them? And then at the end of that day or week or month or year, you sat there beating yourself up, mad at yourself, cussing yourself out because you didn't take action. How many of you have ever had that experience? All of us have had that experience. Let me tell you what will get you out of having that experience ever again. Pressure. Pressure. Persuasion, influence, or intimidation to make you do something. So when the city of Abington sent me that letter and said, if you don't pay your payment on this $200 parking ticket, young man, we're going to send the cops to come arrest you. That was intimidation. They intimidated me into making my payment, and I finished making that payment. When someone influences or persuades you, they can do this in a positive way. They can use negativity to do it. If your parents say, hey, if you don't clean your room or you break curfew or whatever it is that parents tell kids these days, If you don't do the thing or you do the thing you're not supposed to do, then I'm going to take your phone away. I'm going to turn off the service to your phone, or you're going to be grounded, or I'm taking away the car keys, or whatever it is the parents can do to influence or persuade you to do what they want you to do. Does that move you to action? Usually it does. Okay, this is what pressure does. Pressure is a good thing. All right, do not try to run away from pressure. All right, you need pressure because pressure forces your hand. That's what it does. Pressure forces your hand. You want your hand forced, ladies and gentlemen, because why? Most of us all of us are inherently lazy. We are human. Human beings are inherently lazy. I'm lazy, you're lazy, everybody's lazy. Now, some people are lazier than others, but we are all inherently lazy. And what I mean by that is the human animal is designed to conserve energy. All right. Left to our own devices, we want to do as little work as possible. Now, again, through the right proper mental conditioning and systems and disciplines, we can move ourselves to be action takers. I consider myself to probably be on the higher side of when it comes to moving myself to action and going against the grain of our human wiring to be lazy. But the point is, I still want to use some forms of persuasion, influence, or intimidation to move myself to action. And again, these can come in a lot of different forms. It just depends on your personal wiring, depends on the conversation you have with yourself, your style, what works for you. And what works for you, folks, let me be clear on that. That doesn't mean what makes you comfortable. What works for you means what moves you to do the things that you need to do, that you know you need to do, that will help you get closer to your level of success, your desired level of success. So when I say what works for you, let me be clear what that means. That doesn't mean what you're comfortable with. Is actually the opposite of that. What you're comfortable with is doing nothing. All of us are comfortable doing nothing. I'll be comfortable laying in bed sleeping right now. All right, I'll be very comfortable doing it. But it's more important that I get this episode recorded. Everybody understand? Persuasion, influence, intimidation to make someone do something. So you can get persuasion, influence, and intimidation from having a coach. You can get it from seeing a tweet or a text message or an Instagram meme that gets you excited, at least for a moment, at least momentarily, to move you to action. But the whole point is you need that pressure. The key is creating the pressure yourself as much as you can, rather than waiting on life's circumstances to bring it to you at inopportune or inconvenient times. In other words, you don't want to be in a situation where you know you need to work out and get in better shape, but then you have a heart attack and you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, if you don't do something about your diet and about your fitness in the next 6 months, you're going to have another one of these and you're going to die and it's going to be over. See, you don't want life to give you the circumstance that creates the pressure. You want to create the pressure yourself right now when you know you're 20 pounds overweight, when you know you haven't seen the inside of the gym in 6 years, when you know you need to stop eating all that candy and ice cream and fried chicken. You need to do it now on your own volition rather than waiting for life to force it upon you, because you might not be lucky enough for the doctor to tell you you won't survive the next one. You might not survive the first one. You get what I'm saying? See, this is why you want to create the pressure for yourself, because life will throw things at you, but it will come at you at a time that you weren't expecting it. It'll be very inconvenient for you, and you might not survive it as smoothly as I'm making it sound. Everybody catching me here? See, this touches on what I just mentioned at the end of point number 2. See, pressure does not mean you need to be in a problematic situation, but problematic situations do create pressure, do they not? Okay, everybody listening to this has been in a problematic situation before. But understand, you don't have to be in a problematic situation to have pressure on you. You just have to allow the circumstance in front of you to be the pressure. It's just a matter of where your thermostat is set, so to speak. I talk about this in my book, Work on Your Game, which you can get at workonyourgamebook.com. You want to be the thermostat in life, not the thermometer. See, the thermometer just tells you what the temperature is. It tells you what the circumstance is. And that's valuable for somebody to just tell you what it is. But the thermostat actually sets the temperature. You want to be the person who sets the temperature, not the person who reports it. You want to be the person making the news, not the person talking about the news. Everybody following what I'm saying here? So one of the issues of my monthly Bulletproof Bulletin, October 2023 issue, is titled Self-Imposed Pressure. It's actually the title of the issue. I got it right up here. You can't see it if you're watching on video, but it was issue number 21, October 2023, Self-Imposed Pressure. You want to consistently put pressure on yourself to perform at a certain level and within certain parameters, which will raise the level of your overall game as a normal standard. That's what you want to do. I actually got more points. So this is actually going to be a 2-part series, why you need deadlines. And I'll tell you more in part number 2. That's going to be tomorrow. Let me make sure here, looking at my notes. Okay, let me recap today's class and then we'll talk about the rest of them tomorrow. Why you need deadlines. The definition of a deadline is the date or time by which something must be done. Again, we're talking about how deadlines help productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, and overall quality, performance, results, and life. All of that. Point number 1, Parkinson's law. Tasks expand or contract based on the amount of time given for completion. You give yourself less time to get something done, and you honor the time limit, you will get things done, more things done in less time. That is a magic formula. Number two, one of the best ways to get things done is having to do them. In other words, having something forcing you to get it done, such as your boss telling you get this done, your coach, your parent, or you even telling you to get something done. When you have to get stuff done, usually we get a lot more done than when it's just a nice thing if we got it done. All right, we got to stop being so nice to ourselves. And number three, we perform at our best when we are under pressure. Pressure is the use of persuasion, influence, or intimidation to make someone do something. The key is creating the pressure ourselves rather than waiting on life to bring it at inopportune and inconvenient times. And again, if you wait for life to give you the pressure, it may be very uncomfortable for you. Whereas if you created the comfort yourself, discomfort yourself, you'll be able to put yourself in a better position than waiting for life to throw it at you. Because if life throws it at you, it may come in a way or a form or a shape or at a time that you really don't want it. That said, tomorrow we're going to go into a couple more points on this concept of why you need deadlines. And make sure between now and then, text me at my number so you're in my text community. My number's down below in the description. Also, while you're down there in the description, you see a link to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the place where I do all my coaching. That's the place where we have all our courses and programs. Go there, to workonyourgameuniversity.com so you can work with me directly, have me as your direct coach, get access to our programs and courses, and get access to me so I can help you with the insights for you to take your mindset, your strategy, your systems, and your accountability for complete implementation exactly where you want it to go. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Workonyourgameuniversity.com. Tomorrow, part two. Work on your game. Dre, all